most people are pretty familiar with the bike. Asymmetric lights at the front. Now one of the features of the bike here is the front windshield. Now for me it's a taller windshield. I don't really like it. I prefer, you see on the new model, the 2013 model, a shorter one. For me, when you get up to the higher speeds, it just gives too much buffering. And even at 5'8" with a taller windshield, the wind still hits me. So I'd prefer to hit the wind a little bit more. And also with the lower speeds, it doesn't really help that much anyway. So you're better off not having it. The handguards. Now the handguards pretty important, especially if you're going off-road. I'd probably do about 30% off-road and probably around 70% on-road. Now I have put an engine guard on this one. The BMW engine guard, in my opinion, is not as good as some of the aftermarket ones. This one here has a couple of different points, so up the top you can see it's mounted and towards the bottom, and it gives you more of a wraparound as well. The other thing is when you do hit the ground with this one, it ends up dividing the impact on two different points quite often. And quite often when you hit the ground, it kind of digs in, but I have noticed that this one does kind of divide the impact as well. Now I have also installed the racks as well for the back here, for the side bags. I haven't actually got any side bags. I do have a top bag, which is extremely convenient. This one here I've got the BMW one, so it's authentic. The good point about getting the authentic one is the key here, so it is lockable, matches the bike as well. Just quickly to open, so you press that to drop it down, press here to open it up, and again to drop it down. The red one here is to actually release the side bag off, but I always leave it on there just for convenience. Something I noticed the other day, I haven't had this bike for that long, about 2 months now. It has got the LCD for the brake, but it's got the old indicators here. If you look at the F800R, it's actually got LCD for the 2011. It's got LCD for here, and then the brake is actually a normal light. It's a bit strange. They've reversed it around. I'm not running a standard tire on this one. The standard tires for me, they're just not enough off-road ability. So this is the Metzler Sahara. It's quite good on-road. Off-road is pretty good. Actually, off-road is really good. On-road, you get up to about 120, you're looking okay. Once you get above 120 k's per hour, it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable, especially when you start to corner at those speeds as well. But it's all right to about 140. But once you're above 140, especially with the high windscreen on it, the bike's pretty much rubbish. It doesn't want to corner at all, and you really start to get buffeted around. Top speed I've had the bike is 160. Apparently it goes up to 199. But for me, you know, being an off-road bike, it is really tailored towards being off-road. And if you're looking for something that's going to go, you know, fast, this is not the bike for you. Now I have got an aluminium engine guard. This is the authentic BMW guard. It cost around the $450–500 mark by the time it was fitted. It was also the same for the racks at the back there as well. Now the racks are put on there, not really using for the side bags like I said before, just kind of to protect the bike. I have dropped the bike a couple of times before I put those side bags on, and actually you find that with the front engine guard that I got on and the back step there, it pretty much protects the bike on this side anyway, so it's just more the exhaust on the other side and just a bit more protection. Most of the time when I'm dropping the bike, it's at low speeds and off-road. It's not going to sort of save the bike in a high-speed crash, but low speed, it can help to protect the bodywork and also protect from major damage. I have got a guard for the lights, pretty important. I have seen some that are kind of like a perspex material. They're better, I guess, in terms of protecting the light. The disadvantage is that if they're going to get broken, they're more likely to break than this one. I do a lot of off-road riding, and when I do off-road riding, it's normally with a club, and so you do get a lot of rocks that get sprayed up, so it's very important. It's a lot cheaper to put a light guard on rather than having to replace the lights. Okay, so the engine in this, you've got the parallel twin. It's a pretty good engine, puts out around about the 85 horsepower, which is not too bad. It's the same engine as in the F800R. The F800R though is tuned differently, so my top speed on that when I had that one was 210 k's per hour. Like I said, this one top speed around 160. Okay, this one here you got the ABS, so this is the ABS sensor at the top here, and then you can see here this here. So when you first start the bike and you start heading off, the ABS is not activated for about 6 meters, and basically it detects the speed of the front wheel and the back wheel, and then it'll activate the ABS. It's very important with this bike that you can turn it off. Okay, so just having a look at the bike here and the instruments. over here is your onboard computer, your RPMs. I find this bike around 6,000 is really nice, so any gear, as long as you hit that 6,000. Once you get above that 6,000, there's a bit more speed, but I prefer once you get to that 6,000 to 7,000 range to change up to the next gear. This is your ABS, so basically it's blinking at the moment to say that it's not actually activated. Once I engage the gear and ride off a bit, that'll actually disappear. You've got your high beams here, and you've got some lights on the side here for your oil and engine problems and stuff like that as well, and your speedo. Like I said, basically you're looking at 160. Apparently they say you get it up to 200. You got your time at your top here. This is your Ks here, so I've done 1200 Ks in this bike. Your ambient temperature here, and also your gauge here for your gear. Your fuel here, and also your engine temperature. The fuel, you notice, the first half of the tank, it stays pretty much full, and then once you start getting down past halfway, then you'll see it drop quite quickly. I've been told that because BMW puts the fuel tank under the seat, it's very hard for them to get a gauge that'll show the exact amount when it's full. So over here you've got your information, which changes the information on the computer, your high beam, low beam, your ABS. Now if you wanted to turn that ABS off, you just hold that down for a few seconds. So once I hold that down there, and you'll see that it becomes a solid light there just to say ABS is off. Once you move off, it's not going to activate, it'll always be off. You've got your heated grips over here. So you've got one button, which is your first setting, and then you've got two buttons, which is, or three buttons, which is your hotter setting. Now the manual says basically turn it on to 3. Once they warm up, you turn it back to 1 and just keep them warm. If you're living in a cold country like I am, they come in very, very handy. Okay, now this one here, your indicators. This is your indicators under here. So basically if you want to turn left, you press the left one. If you want to turn right, you press the right one here. And this is your cancel button here. If you want your hazard lights on, you press them both on. The only problem with this system is that if you want to use the horn, which is usually here, the horn is actually up here. And I find when you're riding along, these are really easy to press. This is a bit more difficult, and a lot of time, by the time you actually want to hit your horn, you've missed your opportunity. So I don't really like that feature. I've been told in the 2013 they have changed that back, so the indicator and the horn is the older version, which I think is better. I think this is a nice move for your indicators, but at the end of the day, safety first. You want to be able to hit your horn pretty quickly when you need it. You don't want to be looking for it. So that's the F800GS. Like I said, a good bike. Some of the negative points of the 2012 model, people have said the suspension is a bit soft. I can agree with that to some extent, I guess. Power seems to be pretty good. It does get bogged down a bit, and you've got to feather the clutch, especially if you're in sand. But compared to something like a trail bike, it's really consistent power. It's not like you get a whole stack of power in one burst. So that's the bike. Any questions, let me know, and I'll try and reply. Thanks for watching. So unfortunately I just dropped the bike twice. It's been a while since I dropped it, but I'll just have a look at the guard here. So that's the guard there, it's taken the main impact there. The second point is here. You can see I've actually come down on some dirt the first time and some cement the second time, so it's actually taken a bit of paint off and left a bit of a mark. But again, second point, and then my nice new protectors here has taken the most of the brunt here. Unfortunately it looks like I've still scratched my exhaust, which is the whole point in buying them, is I wouldn't damage my exhaust, but it looks like I still have scratched it. But them's the brakes, and again here, scratched along here. So I guess these things here, if you're looking at protecting your exhaust, it's not going to do it 100%, but the other thing is that it's going to protect the weight, so the exhaust is not going to get pushed up and potentially break your brackets and your connections and stuff. So fun day riding. Unfortunately put it down a couple of times on some pretty easy riding, but that's life.